Ever since the base roster of Jump Force was fully revealed to us, the community began to speculate about the possibility of additional series being added to the game after launch. Not just additional characters, but entirely new franchises. If you remember at the time, I was one of the people saying that this could probably never happen. I thought that because licensing for stuff like this logistically is a nightmare. I've learned a little bit more about licensing because I talk about it a lot, and as I continue to learn more about it, I might do like a whole video about it because it's a really complicated topic. But basically, licenses have to be paid in different regions of the world. So for them to be able to have something like, I don't know, let's say One Piece in the game, that's something that they have to pay for. And the reason I say they is because it's kind of vague. Sometimes it's Bandai, sometimes it depends on the region. It's all very complicated, like I said. But the long story short is adding a new series to the game is very, very difficult. In order for them to add a new series to the game, that series would need to be able to justify not only the cost, but the time spent on the character as well. And back when we were first initially speculating about additional series coming to the game, I said that the series with the best chance would be Gintama, or Gintoki from Gintama. But it turns out that I was wrong about that last part, because as you've probably heard at some point, there has been data mined animations that appear to point to Assassination Classroom's Koro-Sensei. And of course, Assassination Classroom is not currently in the game, which is super interesting. I really did not see that coming. To be fair, I did think that Assassination Classroom had a chance. I just thought that if any series made it, it would be Gintama, but here we are with Assassination Classroom, possibly. Again, just because there's animations in the game doesn't necessarily mean that Koro-Sensei is coming, but it's probably happening. I was so happy to see that the community reaction to Koro-Sensei was so positive, but I did want to make this video to discuss it very shortly because I see a lot of people running wild with this information, saying things like, well, Assassination Classroom's Koro-Sensei is on the way, so that means Suna's chances have increased. That means Gintoki's chances have increased. But I don't think that logic necessarily follows. In fact, I think Koro-Sensei hurts the chances of those characters more than anything. Now, don't get me wrong, it certainly shows that Bandai, or whoever it is in the particular region, is willing to pay for an additional series to be added to the game, possibly, but that doesn't necessarily indicate anything for Season 2. And yes, it is shocking that they've decided to do that, but just because they've paid the license once, it does not logically follow that that means they would be willing to pay for it twice, for another series, or another series, or another series after that. But the thing I wanted to bring up in this video is the conclusion that I do think logically follows from us knowing about Koro-Sensei. The conclusion that I think follows is that if they were willing to pay for a license for Assassination Classroom, they very well may be planning to add more than just Koro-Sensei. Now, that doesn't mean for sure that they will, but it certainly wouldn't surprise me if we got an additional Assassination Classroom rep. After all, if you've already paid for the license, you might as well milk it for as much as you can. And if we were to get more Assassination Classroom reps, I would say like the maximum amount would probably be around 3. After all, right now, if you look at the data mine files of Jump Force, the maximum amount of characters you can get to is around 7 for Season 2. If they intend to match Season 1, that would leave 2 more spots for Season 2. And if all of that ends up happening, that's a potential 2 Assassination Classroom characters. So like I said, up to 3, counting Koro-Sensei, and then of course 2 more. I think there are 4 reasonable characters in the running: Nagisa, Kama, Itona, and Kayano. Those last 2 characters are super spoiler heavy, and you need to absolutely go watch Assassination Classroom because it's awesome. I think Nagisa would pretty easily be a second rep, so if we only get 1 additional Assassination Classroom rep, I think it would pretty hands down be Nagisa. But I think if there was a 3rd rep, Kayano, to me, would be the most obvious 3rd representative because, spoilers. Again, take all of this with a grain of salt. We're looking at animations inside the game files of Jump Force. For all we know, Koro-Sensei might not even come, but I'm pretty sure he will based on what we've seen. But everything else in this video has all been speculation. So I guess I've got 2 questions for you in the comments today. Do you think we will get more Assassination Classroom reps? And if we do, who would you want it to be? That's going to be it for me though. Before I go, I want to thank you so much for all the support recently. It means the world to me. Seriously, I'm looking at doing some pretty exciting things in 2020, and I wouldn't be able to do it without your support. So thank you so much for that. If you're new around here, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.